Bismillah, Alhamdulillah, Assalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah, Sallallahu alayhi wasallam, wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajmain. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala Nabiyyana Muhammad, Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Assalamu alaikum. I would like to welcome all of you in this session on effective presentation skill. Effective presentation skill. Inshallah, today, after completing this session, you will be able to design and deliver effective presentations based on proven techniques, inshallah. Now, before we start the main contents, let's have a kind of brainstorming session. In Slido, the code is 135. I want you to answer the question, what are the attributes of an effective presentation in Slido? Yeah, please give me your valuable feedback in Slido regarding the attributes of an effective presentation. Yeah. Let me see what you think about the attributes. Inshallah, today I will share some, inshallah. Good communication. Now, I'm asking about the attributes of an effective presentation. Some attributes. Yeah, good communication. It should enable good communication and pronunciation of the presenter. Yeah, that's important. Very important. What else? Yeah. What else? What do you think? Simplicity. Good. It has a clear objective. Yeah, these are some nice points. Yeah, accent. Yes. Yeah, accent. Yeah, useful. Yeah, fluency of the presenter is very important. Yeah. Okay. The presentation slides should be concise and informative. Yes, it's very true. Very true. Yeah, it should have only the key points. Yes. Yes. Public engagement, useful to the audience. Presenting the key points. Yeah, public engagement, neat and clean slides. Yes, indeed. Yeah. What else? Anything else? Attractive slides, obviously. Yeah. Yeah. Starting with a catchy question, okay. Yeah. To draw the attention, yeah. Attention of the audience. It's well rehearsed, very important thing. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, we will focus on that, inshallah. Inshallah. Okay, so received some nice feedback. Great body language. Yeah, body language is very important, indeed. Yes, yes. Yeah. Thank you. I mean, thank you for your valuable feedback. Okay, let's continue. Now, significance of presentation skill. It's one of the most important professional skills. There are different types of professional skills, and this is really one of the most, important ones. Yeah. So it's quite critical and need meticulous preparation. Yeah. Before you present, yeah, there should be meticulous presentation preparation. And also you need serious practice sessions before delivery. Before you deliver your presentation, you should rehearse. I think there was a feedback regarding rehearsing. Yes, it's indeed, it's very important. Yeah. Okay, and today the scholarly basis of this session. In this session, I will be taking help from this excellent concise guide. It's called A Concise Guide to Communication in Science and Engineering. It's by David H. Foster, Professor David H. Foster. He's, I think he's a graduate of the prestigious Imperial College. And right now he's a professor, I think, at the University of Manchester. Yeah, so he's quite distinguished. His book is really excellent one. This is really an excellent book. I have a copy, alhamdulillah, and this book is, a very useful thing. So in the future, if you want to grab a copy of a useful book, you should have this one. Yeah, and in this book, yes, presentation is there about lecture and talks, chapter 11, but there are other important topics which are related to research and communications, like general principle research articles, literature reviews, technical reports, dissertations, theses, and use of English, use of mathematics, data description and statistical inference, graphing data, publication and promotion, posters, and ethical issues. All this in this book, subhanallah, it's so well researched. There are 737 references, subhanallah. Rarely you see a book which has this many references, 737 references. Some of these references are for research works, and some of them are simply in the bibliography. In the bibliography, you have 391 references. So it's very well researched. It doesn't mean, Professor Foster is saying everything on his own. You will see, and even in the quotations, which I will be using, inshallah, that he's referring to other authoritative sources like Nature, Elsevier, and other scholarly works. So this book is really quite useful. Okay. Okay. Now, before you present, there are two phases. First, you'll have to do all the necessary preparations. Yeah, there are certain tasks which are related to preparation, and after you prepare nicely, then you will present. And of course, even during presentation, you have certain things which we'll discuss, inshallah. So regarding preparation, Professor Foster has indicated there are, you should focus on content, organization, text or graphics, memory aids, slide design, and slide animation. I think most of usually the undergrad students, they focus on slide design and maybe on slide animation, maybe only these two things. But there are other issues which should be, given proper attention as well, which I would like to present based on his work. First, let us talk about the content. Yeah, as a rough guide, you might aim for 1 slide a minute. 1 slide a minute. So if you have, let's say, a 20-minute long presentation, roughly you should have 20 slides, according to according to him. In fact, this is Professor Foster has referred, taken this, this comment is based on this reference number 90 from his book. So this is a rough guide. It's quite, I knew it before, but now I know the correct reference, which is Professor Foster, and also this reference number 90 in his book. Some learned societies insist on a lower rate still, and the reference is 286. So even some will say, no, not even one slide a minute, even it should be even less. But sometimes we see the presenter, they come with lots of slides, and at the end they cannot finish them. Or even if they, they will just flip through the slides without properly reading them or properly paying attention or highlighting the materials included in the slides. So that's why you should remember, it's as a rule of thumb, you should have um, 1 slide a minute. Okay. Now regarding organization, yeah, regarding organization. So you should obviously include an attractive title slide, and if possible, include a nice figure related to your topic, and should be organized in a logical sequence, obviously. And this is a quote from the book, that ensure in longer talks that you occasionally recapitulate the key points. This is regarding longer presentations. So recapitulate the key points. Otherwise, your audience, they might get lost. They might get lost. Yeah. One of the reasons why I use LaTeX with this kind of menu is that when I'm presenting something, you will be able to understand what I'm doing right now, what's the situation right now. For example, right now, the slide title is organization, and this is under this preparation. So when you use a LaTeX slide with this kind of menu bar or this items on the left or right or top, then the audience, they will not get lost. So they will know what's happening right now. Where am I at the moment? So at the moment you are in preparation, and still there are so many slides. There are 38 slides, and now this is slide number 9. So this sort of information really helps. And occasionally you can highlight these points, yeah, other points. So recapitulation is very important. Then text or graphics. This is a suggestion from Professor Foster, and he has a reference for this, that prefer images, graphs, and diagrams to text. And they attract attention more than words, are more informative and easier to remember. However, avoid extremes. Avoid extremes, neither all graphics nor all text. So it should be balanced. So in your presentation slides, there should be a proper balance. Yeah. Next thing is memory aids. So when you are presenting, you might forget what you will be presenting. So you should have some sort of prompts or cards. And sometimes if you think you won't be able to remember, then you can use a short printed list of prompts on cards or a sheet of paper. And or sometimes if you're using a software, then you can use software. Sometimes in certain software you have this presentation mode, which is really helpful. Or you can use a separate monitor if you want. Also, the images and text in your slides, they should prompt you what you are supposed to talk. They should also help you. So you should prepare your slides in such a way that looking at those texts or images, you'll be able to continue, or you'll be able to talk regarding those points. And sometimes animated text box or graphics might help you. So you might include a certain animated text box or graphics just to remind you about certain things. Yeah, so that can work as a memory aid. So these are some of the do's, but this is a very important thing. Yeah, you have memory aids, but avoid focusing your attention too long on the printed prompt list, projection screen, or computer monitor to the exclusion of the audience. So sometimes this is a bad etiquette, just to become a slide reader and show the audience your back most of the time. So most of the time you're reading the screen and the audience is seeing your back. This is not polite. This is obviously, you should avoid this. Yeah. So attention to your memory aids should not be too much. Yeah, too much. Just a brief glance. Yeah. And here, Professor Foster has said that otherwise they will disengage. If you don't make eye contacts or stare at the audience most of the time, they will disengage. Now, regarding slide design in the preparation phase, Yeah, there are certain do's and don'ts. I'll focus on do's first. And I think slide design is one of the most important things in your preparation phase. So I would request you to give attention that in the do's, one or at most two lines of text in each bullet point. You should not include big, chunk of paragraphs or big lines. Please avoid that. Look at the name, PowerPoint. It's not power line or power paragraph. This is PowerPoint. Yeah. So PowerPoint should have certain bullet points and one or at most two lines of text in each bullet point. Choose text in no more than 2 font sizes and colors. So this is a guide I'm giving you. Some of the things mentioned here. Try to stick to these points and your presentation will be nice, inshallah. Use the same fonts and font sizes throughout. Sometimes there might be some exceptions, for the sake of emphasis, but by and large, you try to stick to this, that use the same fonts and font sizes throughout, and simplify language. And Professor Foster is from the UK. He's saying that no need for proper sentences or determiners such as the and a, and eliminate spelling errors. This is very important. Eliminate spelling errors. And this is, I'm emphasizing in one single slide that regarding the font size, recommended font sizes are between 18 to 36 point or even larger. 18 to 36 point or even larger. So please avoid using smaller font sizes. Yeah, please use bigger fonts. So only few bullet points with larger font sizes. That is what you should be doing. Now regarding don'ts in your slide design. Avoid clutter and overcrowding. So it should not be stuffy. It should not be stuffy. Should not have too many contents. Yeah. So avoid clutter and overcrowding. Avoid text set entirely in capitals and colored text on colored backgrounds that affect legibility. So color scheme should be properly selected. And you should omit all information-free decoration, unnecessary color, patterns, and logos. Avoid color combinations such as red and green that are difficult to distinguish by viewers with color vision deficiency. Some people might be colorblind or might have some difficulties with different color schemes. So this is a suggestion from the book by Professor Foster that avoid color combinations, certain color combinations. Another don'ts, another thing you should avoid should be, do not use images or line drawings protected by copyright unless approved by the copyright holder. So this is the issue of copyright. Yeah. So you should uphold ethical values, and you should not be using whatever you're finding without thinking about the copyright issue, and do not include any text from another source that is not properly attributed. So always you should cite, yeah, to avoid plagiarism. You should avoid plagiarism, and there are 3 ways to avoid plagiarism. You can quote, you can paraphrase, or you can summarize, but in all these 3 cases, you'll have to give proper citation to avoid plagiarism. So you should be doing always, it should be properly cited. Yeah. See in this, in my slide, I'm explicitly mentioned, from where I took these quotations from. So these are from this reference number 1 and between pages 302 to 303, basically the book by Professor Foster. It's between those pages. This slide design is between the page numbers 302 and 300. So always you should cite properly. This is a good practice. Yeah. Regarding bullet points, so I have dedicated one slide only for highlighting this issue, that no more than about 5 bullet points and preferably fewer. No more than about 5 bullet points and preferably fewer is a good practice. Yeah. Don't overcrowd your slides with so many bullet points. So many bullet points. And once again, I'm trying to draw your kind attention regarding copyright issue. This is a common practice. I mean, you will see a website, there are certain images, you will just grab it and use it in your presentation. You should not be doing that. So this is a quote from the book, that because an image or drawing is available on the web does not mean it can be used freely. So refrain from doing that. Rather, you should be using open educational resources with proper attribution. You have alternatives. Use OER. There are plenty of open educational resources which you should be using. Now, the last issue related to preparation is slide animation, certain do's and don'ts. So regarding do's, use controlled animation to reveal the key points. Like right now I'm doing that. This is the first point. Yeah, the second point is this: make the transition from one bullet point to the next or one image to the next by appearance only. There are many effects in PowerPoint, I know, but please, I mean, in serious presentation, refrain from doing some catchy or flashy things, which many of us, we are attracted towards that, but please refrain from doing that. And don'ts: do not over animate. Do not over animate. Making every word or every element of an image appear in sequence is irritating. Yeah, I reiterate, making every word or every element of an image appear in a sequence is irritating. So I would request all of you to avoid that. And no elements that fly in, float, expand, or contract, or anything else that diverts attention. So be careful about this. These are suggestions which you should pay attention. Okay, so these are some of the points related to preparation. Now, regarding presentation. Regarding presentation, there are 3 important issues. One is rehearsal. So of course, there should be practice sessions, plenty of practice sessions in front of your friends or colleagues or your supervisor, and then you should deliver. So before delivery, you should practice a lot. And then there are certain practicalities which the author, Professor Foster, has mentioned. I would like to share some of those practicalities. Now, regarding rehearsal, with practice, this is a statement for encouragement, that with practice, and this statement is backed by 2 references in Professor Foster's book, that with practice, public speaking becomes easier, and there are techniques for reducing anxiety in these conditions. So you should practice a lot. And in the beginning, when you are practicing, of course, there might be, you might have stage fright, or you might become nervous, but yeah, I think it's natural. But if you practice and if you deliver more and more, inshallah, this thing will go away, and you will not have any stage fright anymore, inshallah. So regarding rehearsal, invite your colleagues, and in particular, this is interesting, in particular those unfamiliar with your work. So somebody who doesn't know much about the topic. So when they will see this, they might be giving you some valuable feedback. Yeah. So don't expect that what you are, preparing your audience, they are well aware of your topic. And most of the cases, they will not, they will have limited knowledge regarding your topic. So it should be prepared as such. Okay. Also, you encourage them to ask hard questions about the content. You should also, if you, deliver or practice in front of your supervisors. This is, I would say, this is a must. I know the 4-1 students, you have pre-events later on. You are encouraged to have mock presentation in front of your supervisors and fellow classmates. Yeah. And test your timing beforehand. Test your timing. That's why you should have mock sessions, and you should be prepared to adjust the pace and detail as you interact with the audience. And identify material you can contract or expand as needed. Sometimes due to time crunch, you might shorten certain things, or you might expand certain topics. So you should know them ahead, before your presentation. And test whether your slides are visible and your voice is audible. This is very important. Now, regarding delivery, the second issue related to presentation, that use your natural speaking style. Use your natural speaking style. So you might have certain intonations or certain tone. You should use that, and ensure that you can be heard by the whole audience, including the back row. Including the back row. One important issue is that the importance of slower delivery. This is a very important quote. So I'm dedicating one slide only on this single quote, that a slower delivery with the occasional pause for the right word makes a more effective and compelling presentation than one delivered at high speed in idiomatic English. So a native speaker, if he talks very fast, doesn't mean that the presentation will be awesome. No, rather the suggestion is you should have a slower pace. So this quote is very important. Very useful when you present. Remember this: when you deliver your presentation, try to deliver your contents at slower pace. You should not rush. And regarding practicalities, some certain do's. So you're presenting there are some certain do's and don'ts. So let us focus on do's first. So move position only when you need to. So this is important. And use a remote pointer or mouse to control slide animation and slide transitions. And with graphs, explain the axis and key elements first. So before you interpret the graph, first explain what is there in the x-axis, what is there in the y-axis, and the key elements first. And then you interpret the graph or plots. Ensure that you are familiar with each slide. You should be familiar with each slide, and talk to the audience and keep eye contact. So that is very important. This issue is very important. Eye contact. Eye contact is very important when you are presenting. Don'ts. Okay, do not wave a laser pointer aimlessly around the projection screen. You should not be doing that, like Star Wars, those kind of things. So please refrain from doing that, and never apologize for minor errors in your slides or in your delivery. Okay. So after knowing about this preparation and presentation, there is a nice checklist available in the book. Yeah, it is quite useful. So I would highly recommend this checklist. If you go to, inshallah, I will share the link with you. Fortunately, in Google Book, this certain chapters from this textbook is available, like chapter 11, lectures and talks, it's available. And the full checklist is available here. The certain pages are absent, but the checklist is available. This is the checklist for lectures and talks during preparation, slides, rehearsal, delivery, avoiding failure, added value, all these things are there. So it's a good, I would say, try to use this checklist before you present something, present a lecture or talks. It's quite useful, quite useful. This checklist is quite useful. And there are certain other references. These two references are from this book, Potential Failure Points and Adding Values. And in the past, I delivered a presentation on LaTeX for academic communications where I discussed different graphics, different materials which can be used for graphical communications using LaTeX. You can watch the video on YouTube. The link is here. And also, as I said, you should be very careful about the copyright protected materials. An alternative is OER, Open Educational Resources. I have a talk on YouTube. You can watch that as well, inshallah. Any question or comment regarding what I have delivered so far? Any question or comment before we move to poll? I have a poll for you. Yeah, and there will be 3 questions related to today's presentation. But before that, do you have any question or comment? Anybody wants to add anything? Anything valuable?
So I have a question.
Yes, please.
So for a certain point, can I use any kind of different color for a specific word? Like I'm putting a sentence for a point. In that sentence, I will put a different color for a specific word.
Yeah, for emphasis, right?
Yeah.
Right. I think that's okay. I do that. I do that a lot, sometimes with bold or different color. Yeah, I think you can do that. Yeah. Any other question or comment before we move to poll? Okay, so let's have a poll. I mean, there are three questions in Slido. The code is 246. There are 3 questions. I want you to answer those in Slido. In Slido, I'll try to answer the questions. There are questions. So the first one is, according to Foster, the number of slides for a 10-minute long presentation should be, mashallah. So, I mean, okay. So I'm getting feedback. Yeah. Okay, so okay, that's interesting. I mean, most of the participants selected 10. Actually, that is a thumb rule which was mentioned, but Professor Foster also mentioned that some, according to some, it should be even less than that. So I would say, I mean, 10 is correct. Even 5 is not wrong, by the way. Yeah, even 5 is, according to some, that's correct. But the rule of thumb is a slide a minute, 1 slide a minute. But even if you have selected 5, yeah, even according to some, less than 10 is even better. So that's okay. Okay. Next issue is that according to Foster 2017, recommended font sizes are dash or even larger between 18 to 36, 12 to 15, 15 to 18, 24 to 36. Okay. Okay, I'm seeing. Actually, the correct is basically between 18 to 36, 18 to 36, or even larger, if possible. Yeah, 18 to 36, or even larger. Okay. The next one, according to Foster 2017, the maximum number of bullet points should be about 3, 4, 5, 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I think most of the participants selected 5. Yeah, in fact, it is 5. According to Professor Foster, yeah, the maximum number of bullet points should be about 5. Okay, thank you very much for your participation. So just to summarize, today we discussed about 2 important issues related to an effective presentation. First, you'll have to prepare. There are 6 things which are related to preparation. Content should be concise. I mean, it should not be verbose. It should be concise. It should be properly organized. Yeah, properly organized. And text or graphics is a question. Yeah, there should be balance. But always remember that whenever you can include a graphics, nice graphics, legible graphics, you should do that. Yeah, but there should be balance. Yeah, you should use memory aids, but don't focus too much on memory aids. Don't show your back to the audience most of the time. This is not a good practice. Avoid that. Regarding slide design, don't just, stuck so many bullet points. Only handful of bullet points. The font sizes should be larger and legible, and should be concise. Should not be too long. Yeah, the 1 to 2 lines, 2 lines max, if possible. Sometimes if you are quoting something, of course it can be longer, but if you are saying something on your own, then it should be 1 to 2 lines, not more than that. But if you're quoting, then yeah, you cannot do anything with that. It can be a longer things. And slide animation, be very careful with the slide animation. The elements in the slide or in the transition, avoid flashy things as much as possible. Yeah, unless you have a very specific purpose, please be careful with the animation. Yeah, otherwise it might distract the audience and they might be irritated. Regarding presentation, of course, you should practice a lot before you deliver. And during delivery, there are certain etiquettes which you should follow, and there are certain practicalities highlighted in this in one of the sections. You should have a look on those points. And one final point I would like to again mention, that to avoid copyright violations, use open educational resources with appropriate attributions as much as possible. With this, I would like to conclude today's presentation. Thank you very much. Fi amanillah. Assalamu alaikum.